Hello again, Jordan here. Coming at you for I guess, fourth carving video. This one's going to be really short. I just want to show you a few of the methods that I use for hand sanding, but I mean, once you see a couple minutes of hand sanding, how much more do you really need to know? It's just kind of shaping and eyeballing and that kind of thing. So I'll just show you a few things that I use. In the last video, I got this far on the new pipe. So you can see I left the quite a huge thing there, lots of material. It tapers down even past this a little bit, probably to here. So I can go thinner as well on here, but it's kind of hard at this point to go thinner with the sanding disc. So now I have to do it by hand. So I've smoothed this out a little bit. I use 120, well, that's going to be backwards because I'm using the other camera, but whatever. 120 grit sandpaper, and I cut them into, fold them or break them into long strips like this. And then I just fold the edge over, and as I use it up, I fold it again, fold it, and basically I just hold it kind of like this. And then I just kind of adjust the camera here down. So I just go along here and just kind of look for oblong weird shapes and different things like that, and just start going and smoothing. And it's 120, same as on the sanding wheel, so it's the same amount of scratches and stuff, but now you can kind of take away all the sharp edges and kind of go at it like that. So this is basically what I do. Depends on the pipe, depends on the shape, how much I can do on the disc sander, but could be an hour, could be a couple hours of sanding like this. Same with the mouthpiece. I just kind of go along. Sometimes I'll go and make the curve just with the sandpaper, things like that. Getting into here. This one I'm trying to transition a little bit differently, although it's not going super well, but I'm just trying to transition it like, let's see, kind of more smooth here instead of a harsh like drop off, just to kind of follow the overall shape of the whole thing here. So that's that. To further shape the mouthpiece bit, I'll probably take off some of this chunk just on the disc sander there quick, and just quickly bring this down a little bit closer. But then I use a file. It's the cheapest file I could buy, and the reason for that is because I took it to the bench grinder and I ground one side smooth. Normally it would be a file part like this, but this side is smooth, and that way if I'm sanding like this on here, the smooth edge isn't taking material out of here, or vice versa. Like if I'm sanding on the mouthpiece itself, I'm not taking more material out of the bit, or like it does still a bit, but not as much, obviously. It's not digging in and whatever. So cheap file, not a crazy amount of grit on it, but it's good enough for shaping and bringing that down to size and stuff. And then I just hand sand it smooth after that. So like I said, I just took this to the bench grinder, and it's hardened steel, right? So it took a bit on the bench grinder, but I just ground it off smooth like that. I saw another guy online do that. I can't remember who it was, but I thought it was an amazing, I don't know if he bought the file like that, but I just decided to wreck one of these files, and it works out pretty well. So that's that. And I just kind of sit and like I said, just kind of work at it, and with my caliper measure to make sure I'm getting close to the slot, so that I don't go through and leave enough so that if people like to clench on it, it doesn't break through right away. So that's kind of that. So that's the basic shaping. I go from 120 to 220. And I do 220 for almost as long as I did the 120 to get away all of the 120 scratches, and some of them get deep even though it should be all the same, but some of them are a bit deeper from the sanding wheel and things like that. So I go to 220. And then if I'm staining, I think I'm going to do another staining and polishing video after it's fully sanded and stuff, so you guys can see that. But after I do 120, or sorry, 220 on here all the way really good, and I take paper towel and wipe all the scratches off and let it come back and see where any other scratches are. Then I do my first dark stain coat. I think I might rusticate this one. I don't know. There's a few sand pits that showed up, and I have kind of an idea on a cool kind of smooth rusticated sort of deal. So I might do that. But it'll be an experiment, so hopefully I don't ruin it. So that's that. And then after 220, or after the first staining, I do another 220. And that basically almost takes the stain right off. Depends on how dark you go with the stain. If you want a darker grain finish, then you would do that first, and then do your 220 again. And you can do a second dark coat, but then you're going to start staining the lighter woods as well, so you're going to get a darker finish on your pipe. Or you can do the lighter one right away, and then I go 320 or 300 or something like that, and then I do one more coat of stain, the lighter stain, just to bring out some of the lighter grains again. And then I do 400 grit, and usually by 400 grit it's good to go, and it's pretty smooth, and the colors come out nice and the grains come out nice and stuff like that. So on the mouthpiece I'll probably go 600, but I actually got a different polish for the buffing wheel recently that'll actually help to take away some of the 400 grit lines that you'll see. So I might just go straight from 400 to the polisher. But yeah, that's kind of that. Maybe I won't call this episode 4 actually in the video here, because it's not really showing anything. I'm just kind of describing my methods. But like I said, I'll show you a polishing video as well, and the different grits of polish I go through at a later date. But yeah, so I just work at this until I like the shape and get rid of all of the little weird indents and imperfections of the sanding wheel, and then go from there. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Like I said, this is just a quick update video. Oops, crazy lighting in here. So yeah, that's that. I think it came along pretty good. Oh, and also I'll probably in the next video with the polishing and finishings and stuff like that, I'm going to add just a mild curve to this, so it kind of follows a little bit of a curve down. So, and then I'll do the polishing. You can polish somewhat and do the bend at the end, but sometimes depending on the aggressiveness of your bend and also how thick your plastic is here, it'll crinkle on the bottom side of the curve and stretch on the top and cause imperfections, and then you got to sand and polish anyways. So I'm gonna probably get the bit a lot nicer shaped first, but then after that I'll bend it right away and then just do the finishings and stuff like that after it's bent. That way I can polish it all at once and get it sorted out. So that's that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back with another video. I won't call this one episode 4. I'll call the next one episode 4. This is just kind of an update after the sanding. So that's that. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.